forehead. You're probably staring at your screen wondering what's going on. You're staring at the screen like, why is his elongated forehead out? He looks like a Minecraft YouTuber who just hit 1 million subscribers and is like, I'm sorry! The children were calling to me, the stress, I just can't take it anymore! Why do I look like that? Well, I want to look my absolute best because today I'm going to be watching the Nutshack, a show that is just telepathically going to make me nut with its thrilling comedy, action, and characters. That's why it has such a abysmal rating on IMDb. It must be good. It's the Nutshack. Yeah, I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. I just heard the show is really bad and that I'm gonna need to bleach my eyes after this. So I'm thrilled to say the least. Gotta love just torturing myself nearly every day with some really wonderful shows. If you like content just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe. I upload 5 days a week, that being Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. And if you want a place where you can talk about your favorite shows, movies, and games, my Discord will be in the description. Now let's finally take a look at the Nutshack. The very first episode that I decided to take a look at was the Cho Warrior for very obvious reasons. I mean, with a title like that, I'm just bound to be in for a good time, right? And honestly, this show is so bad that it's kind of good. All of the nonchalant voice acting that's horrible, all of the really atrocious jokes, when you circle around it all, it ends up being kind of funny because it's so unbelievably abysmal. The comedy in this show is kind of like if 30 of the writers were all on salvia and they're just like, I'm a tree. I'm a tree. You know what a tree finds funny? Duh. I like duh. Yeah, dick. Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like, but, you know, when it's that bad, it actually turns out to be a little bit funny, and I'm not nutting yet, as the Nutshack would entice me to do, but, you know, I actually had a decent time, even though this was really bad. We start the episode off with the legend of the Cho Warrior, how this ancient clan of people would fight each other with their schlongs popping off and just growing 6 feet the size and just having intense battles with each other. Very interesting concept, I can't even lie. And then, we cut to reality, where we meet Phil and Cheetah and Horat, all of our main characters, and for like the first 4 minutes, I thought I was in for such a rough time, because their jokes were just unbelievably abysmal. It's just the toilet humor of jokes. It's literally Horat, this weird mechanical little ferret monkey thing, and he's just, and this one character's all like, oh, the Thunder Man? Oh, he's gonna make me piss myself. And then Horat scares him, so he pisses himself.
Oh man, these are my new panties.
Yes! Yes, there was nothing more that I wanted to see in the first 3 minutes than for somebody to piss his pants. Oh, in for a good time when everybody's pissing. Oh, got to love when everybody's pissing. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's just a little bit of an interesting way to get me into your episode, and they do not follow it up right. Because we have our character Phil running out and there's this girl, and for some reason they animate all of the girls with their badonkas just bouncing heavily. And it's not like, it's like either none of them are wearing a bra or they're like doing it on purpose. Like it'd be the equivalent if I walked up to you and I was like this and I was like, hey, how you doing? Which, you know, I don't know if I should complain about that because I mean, technically, it is the Nutshack, so, you know, the Gooners were like, excuse me? There's not enough jiggle physics in my episode. I need at least 30 more jiggles per frame in order for me to get my full experience in the Nutshack, sir. So I'll take about 30 to 40 more jiggles on this frame alone, please. Yeah, that's what it feels like. And this lady is just screaming that Phil needs Viagra, and he is struggling with this immensely. He hates it because, you know, his little dick is struggling a little bit. And yeah, so that sets up what Phil is going through in the episode.
Get some Viagra, idiot.
Come on, baby.
Loser.
And, at the same time, they're all watching this show called Mega Dookies. And initially I was thinking, okay, you know, it can't be that bad. Maybe it's going to be like a My Little Pony parody where Applejack is taking a big old deuce on top of Twilight Sparkle or something. No, it's like an anime girl who is also just going, just walking, bouncing down the street. She just lets out a little good old-fashioned toot, and she just goes, oh yeah! What? And then she takes a monster shit on the floor. Why? So that's my first interaction with the Nutshack, by the way. I watched a man piss himself. I've seen about 300 jiggles. I've seen just an immense amount of toilet humor. So going into that, I was initially a little bit terrified for what I had in store here. I was a little bit scared. We have Phil being like, "Oh, come on, ding-a-ling. What's wrong with you, man? Come on, ding-a-ling." He's struggling immensely, but that's when we cut to Horat, who is going to try and get concert tickets. And he sees this guy who is apparently like a ass lord or something, and the ass lord runs into this guy, I think his name is Van Dyne, and they start fighting with their elongated schlongs coming off of their bodies. We don't get to see much of it. It's kind of like a little teaser of what to expect in the future. Horat gets struck by lightning, and that's pretty much that for now. We cut to this guy. The only way that I could really describe him is he kind of looks like Mario, but in this case it would be like, "It's a me, a Chodio," because that's just what he looks like. He looks like if Princess Peach overdosed because of too much Bowser did. That's the best way that I could describe it. He isn't looking very good, and I have to watch him cough up a hairball after he says, "I'm gonna be the Choden one."
I'm a What the? Whose damn hair is this?
So that's enlightening to say the least. Good for him. That sets that up well. We cut back to Horat, who is now with his friends again, and Phil went to go and see somebody, and we learn because he starts like summoning things. He starts like having a Super Saiyan transformation instead of Vegeta being all like, "There's one thing a Saiyan always keeps, his pride." In this case, it would be, "There's one thing a Saiyan always keeps, his dick."
Then something just snapped. Something inside of me.
Yeah, that's how that scene made me feel. And he summons this barrel god. Yeah, and he's a barrel god, and we get a bunch of jokes about he is the barrel god. It's all very interesting. Cheetah says, "I'm sorry I doubted you," and I'm just highlighting that one scene because that's how abysmal the voice acting is here. It's just Phil being like, "There you go, Cheetah. You never should have doubted me." Cheetah's like, "I'm so sorry, Phil. I was so wrong to doubt you."
Honey jobber isn't working.
Phil, I don't know what to say. I'm really sorry I doubted you.
Me too, Phil.
It's just stupid. It's just really dumb, but it's so dumb that I kind of like it. You know? Like, I kind of believe fully that it's, like, unintentional to be this bad, but it is that bad. So it's kind of funny. And the Barrel Lord explains that he must start training to become the Choden one so that he could defeat Van Dyne in the ultimate Choden battle. So now we have Chodio, our Mario guy, going up against Van Dyne in one of the shittiest looking battles ever. I mean, honestly, if I'm being real with you, this makes JJK look like shit. This makes AOT, the scene where Levi is running away from the police in season 3 when he's running away from all of them, it just makes that look like shit.
Yeah.
The Chodes battling each other in one of the most thrilling fights I've ever seen. The tension, the suspense, it was about to make me bust. Not quite, but it was there. It's just two giant cocks fighting each other. And it's pretty interesting to watch, especially when you've never really seen anything like this before. It's not the most thrilling battle ever, but it had suspense, it had everything. They were shooting things at each other, they were hitting each other in the testes, and Van Dyne ends up being the winner, attempting to become the Ultra Chode. He gets jiggy with it after the fight, and we then cut back to Phil, who is training to become the Choden one, and I can't show any of these scenes, not a lick, not a one, because dear lord, it is really bad. It is so unbelievably bad. Like, he's training with the barrel god who is supposed to teach him how to be the Choden one, and the barrel takes off his barrel and it's just a bunch of really long, like, horse-shaped peni. Yep. And like 3 minutes of him training while just constantly touching them and fondling them and doing everything to make somebody in the audience nut, as the Nutshack demands. Very interesting concept. Not showing any of that, I could guarantee you. We get more things that aren't very good. I mean, at the end of that training with all the schlongs, we do get a Donkey Kong reference where he's just climbing up Donkey Kong, like the game. And I wrote down my Princess Peach joke because I thought it was hilarious while I was watching the episode. I just had to include that there. I was like, oh man, I'm so unbelievably funny. I'm gonna say Peach overdosed on Bowser Day. And then Princess Peach was actually in the episode, and I was mind boggled. I was like, oh my god, I'm a psychic fucking genius. Yeah, she's like, has her dress pulled up and her ass is hanging out, so I'm not gonna show that, but Phil claims her at the end after beating Donkey Kong, and I was just shocked. I was starstruck after I, predicted that Chodio was like Mario, and then Princess Peach showed up. I was like, yeah, I know how to write a show, yeah, I can predict the Nutshack, yeah! So we then cut to this crowd, and we got to a low point again because they're like, happy hobo day or something, hobo event. And this hobo walks up and he just starts ripping unbelievable stank ass all over the reporter.
Oh my god!
And I don't know if I've grown. I mean, maybe if I was like 14 or 13, I'd find that really funny. But I've grown to where I've just seen so many atrocious things when it comes out to excrement from the ass that I just don't care anymore. I really don't. I don't find it as funny. So for that to happen, that was just a little bit of a downhill for me. And then Van Dyne fights more Cho Warriors and says that he's going to be at Alcatraz. So Phil is going to go over there to Alcatraz to confront him for the ultimate Cho Warrior battle. Yes! So, yeah, we get that battle, and it's all right for the most part. It's pretty thrilling, if you were to ask me. It's two giant cocks fighting each other. What else do I really need? And then Van Dyne is about to beat him. He's just like, oh no, bro, the penis is about to take out another penis. Somebody help! No! But then he gets some help from Horat and his friends, and he manages to hit Van Dyne in the balls, and he pulls like a Batman Bane on him. He's just like, where is the penis? Where is it, Joker? Joker! And he lifts him up, and Van Dyne's like, no, I was born in the penis, molded by it.
Never! I will be the Chode. I am the...
And he just smashes him on his back, and Phil wins and defeats Van Dyne, and that's pretty much the end of it. So yeah, that's my introduction to the Nutshack, and it's quite the thrilling experience, to say the least. I don't know. It's pretty interesting. There were a couple of things that I didn't like. I don't like when they were just doing the nonsensical comedy, like let's watch a TV show where an anime woman rips ass and then smells it. Wasn't really a fan of that. It just feels like it's shock humor with no taste, no substance, didn't like that. But everything else was just kind of really shit. But it's like a pile of shit after somebody ate nothing but, lavender. Like they were just sniffing the lavenderacy, just... And they ate a bunch of it, and it smells beautiful. But you know down in your heart that you don't want to touch it, because at the end of the day, it is poop. You don't want to touch it, but it smells good. And you can enjoy it for what it is. Because this show was really bad. All of the fight scenes were really bad. All of the voice acting is really bad. The main character sounds like, oh my dick. Oh, I gotta be the chosen one. Like, it's not good. It's really bad, but it's so bad that it's good. And that's something I can admire in a show, because this is the type of show that you could sit down, turn your brain off, and even if it's bad, you'll still be having a good time. So you know what? If I was to rate the show 1 to 10, I would give it a honest-to-God 8 out of 10. Now, I know what you're thinking. You've given 8 out of 10s to way better shows than this. Yes, I have. But this is more of an 8 out of 10 out of pity, because it is really bad, but I did like it. I did like it. It was so bad that it's good that I'm gonna rank it high. If I was going to like rank this compared to other actual good shows, like if I was for some reason like The Nutshack versus Avatar The Last Airbender and Teen Titans, The Nutshack would get a 1 out of 10. That episode would not even compare to the beauty of those shows. But when I'm just rating it in an isolated territory, 8 out of 10 for what it is. The next episode I decided to take a look at was Goss Surgery, and this episode is all about how they're at the mall and a plastic surgery store opened at the mall. So people are just, lifting their bazungas, getting their asses fattened, and just fixing everything that they don't like about themselves at a mall plastic surgery, area. Isn't that great for them? And the character that they decide to use for the majority of the episode as the focal point against this is Cheetah, which was so interesting to me because she's just like, oh, girls should not want to make their body look like that Hollywood treatment. And I felt like the writers were probably having just such a big old laugh as they're sitting there like, oh yes, let's make Cheetah the main focal point for all of the issues with Hollywood and plastic surgery, but please make her boobs shake at least 40 more times as she says it. Yes, please, no plastic surgery. Fuck. Kermit's voice really got me there. That wasn't like full Kermit, but whoo, okay. Yeah, but that's probably what the writers were thinking there. That was just interesting. That was a very interesting concept, and a lot of it is just talking. There's eventually these characters, one of them, I don't know his name, but he's having this conversation with this girl at this manicure shop, and they're talking about plastic surgery, and he's like, oh, but if I could be the rooster of the cock, if I could be, the goat of the balls, and then he says he wants to do horrible things to a dolphin.
All pleasures to farm animals, and I take the baby dolphin and I rape.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that one out loud, but why does he want to do that to a dolphin? No, don't do that to a dolphin. And it's just conversations just like this that occur throughout the entire episode. Non-stop. I was just waiting for something crazy to happen, but it's just conversations just like this that are so odd. Like, genuinely, just so many different conversations like that. And then we cut to Cheetah talking to Horat, and this entire 3-minute segment where Cheetah's like, God, I just hate that they want to change themselves. I hate it so much. And Horat's just like, as he's staring at her big old badongas, just like, yes, Cheetah, you should want people to be themselves, yes, as he just wants her big old, babushkas, to say the least. And that goes on for 3 minutes, so you could tell that I'm thrilled, I'm excited, I'm having a great time, when the only conversations have been about doing horrible things to a dolphin, talking about how plastic surgery is wrong, using the character who literally looks like she has had 8 boob jobs in her life, and also just a little monkey robot creature really wanting Cheetah's tits. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that great? Are we having a good time yet? Yeah, we are. Yes. So we then have Horat staying the night at Cheetah's, which leads to another thrilling, unbelievable conversation where he was caressing her and fondling her in the night, and then he's like, yeah, I love sleeping with women, man. Like Phil, he's a chronic ass ripper, which we then get a beautiful scene where Phil is ripping ass.
He's a mother-hupping chronic sleep farter, man. I don't know if you knew that, did you?
What the fuck is this show? It's not anywhere near making me nut. It's not making me bust. I liked the Cho Warrior episode, and that's because it was a crazy concept. Here, it's just the most awful conversations, awful voice acting, and stupid concepts. I can't get behind it, man. So Cheetah, she calls everybody to the mall to have a conversation to say that they should stay all natural, and they've all gotten plastic surgery done. And she's initially very against it. She's just like, I can't believe you guys would do something like this to change your body. It's so unnatural, you stupid dumbasses. And then she takes one look at Jack, and Jack, he's went from fat to just jacked, to thick, to sexy, to all the muscles you could ever want. And she's just like, her nips get hard, everything, and she just immediately switches up right away. And she's all like, yeah, guys, my boobs aren't real. Wow, really? Really? I wonder why they jiggle 90 times per second. I wonder why. Who could have guessed that was the case, Cheetah? You lying sack of shit. Yeah, so she switches up real quick, confesses, because she wants to be with Jack, and the one guy who talked about doing things to the dolphins, he sees these girls walking up, and he's like, good morning, ladies, hello. And then they say he smells like curry. Yeah. Wow. What a thrilling fucking joke. The most basic racist thing that you could say to an Indian is what they just went for, hook, line, and sinker, to tell a hilarious joke, and it just does not land. It's just an awful joke. Like, genuinely. Like, I don't even care that it's offensive, you know? It's just, like, genuinely, that joke is so, like, bottom of the line, basic thing that you could say about ethnicity there, that it's just like, oh god, guys, we need a joke for our Indian character. What are we gonna say? What can we say? Can we say something clever? Can we say something good? I know, let's say he smells like curry. Really, bro?
Fold!
Okay, that guy smelled like curry.
I mean, if you're gonna make a joke like this, you should at least try and do it like, I don't know, South Park, where it's done tastefully, they actually thought about it, and it's happening for a reason. Here, it was literally like COD 2011 Modern Warfare lobby humor, when you don't know what to say to a person, so you're just like, what's your ethnicity? I need to say the most basic shit joke about that. It's just awful. Like, it's an offensive joke that didn't have any purpose in the episode, because I can't imagine a single person laughing at these white women saying, he smells like curry. It's just stupid. Like, it's actually so dumb. It's so bad. I hate it. I hate it. There's just so much talking in this episode with nothing happening, and I was just expecting a big old climax, you know, to finally turn it in to the Nutshack, where I'm supposed to bust. I can't, you know, exclaim that more than I possibly could. The Nutshack is failing me at what it's supposed to make me do. So they are all having this conversation about their plastic surgeries, acting real high and mighty about themselves. And then the next day they go to the mall. All their plastic surgeries just start failing. All of it. The one dude, he starts growing hair. The Bob Ross guy, he loses all of his hair. Dick, yes, his name is literally Dick. He starts getting ugly again. Phil loses his good nose. The one girl, her boobs fail, and then she just starts making these noises. Like, if I got a surgery to increase the size of my breasts and they just like popped and went everywhere, the first thing I wouldn't do is to walk up to people and be like, yeah, that's basically what she does. I don't know what the fuck she was saying. Why did she do that? I don't know. I don't understand anything. It's a little bit weird. I don't know. This entire episode has been really weird. It's just so odd. But yeah, all their plastic surgeries fail except for Cheetah's, because she didn't get surgery at a mall, and that's pretty much the end of the episode. That was the whole climax. 90% talking, 1% plastic surgery, cosmetic surgeries failing. Wow, I'm thrilled, I'm excited. I don't know, I feel like I wasted a lot of my life there. I put so much emphasis and attention on that curry joke because, I mean, first off, it's just done horribly. It's in really bad taste. It's not going to age well, obviously, but it was just so baseline. Like, I hated it. And that kind of just, like, says everything about this episode. There were no good jokes in this episode about anything. They were all sloppy. They were all worthless. And it's not like South Park, where if South Park was going to make that same type of joke, they would have spent 2 minutes building it up. There would have been reason for it, and it would have actually had a purpose in the episode. It just was kind of nothing. And that's what I feel like a lot of this episode was. That's why I put so much emphasis on talking about that one joke, because that's just all this episode was. It was just awful. All of it was bad. These characters are not charismatic enough to carry an entire episode on their own or tell even remotely good jokes. It was just, Yeah, that's how I feel about it. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would probably give it a solid like 2 out of 10. I don't know. It's really bad. So bad. The next episode I decided to take a look at was Slasher, and this one is definitely worse than Cho Warrior. There's just a lot more problems with it. The first 8 minutes are kind of boring because the animation, it does look really bad. Like, this show looks like it's trying to be Boondocks in a way, but Boondocks does it a million times better, has better voice acting and all that stuff, so I'm never really having a dull moment when I'm watching Boondocks. Here, the voice acting's really bad, plus the animation looks atrocious, so unless you're just sitting over here like, yes, the giggling, it's so good, then you're not really having the best time, and I'm just on that boat. So the beginning of this episode, it's a Halloween episode. They're preparing for Halloween, and they go down into the basement, and they find Jack, and he's all like, no, I need my utility belt. I really need it. So he stays behind for a little bit, and Horat messes with this machine, which causes this guy to unfreeze, who turns out to be a slasher, and he just starts slashing everybody up, and we just basically have a slasher film for like the first 8 minutes with some really trash jokes sprinkled in between. Some of them are just a bit odd. Like, we have Phil, who's at this party, and there's a lot of homosexual men around him, so he starts going, I love anal. Yeah, isn't that great and lovely, huh? Yeah, that's just some good stuff for Phil, and he didn't mean to say that, somehow, out loud, screaming it. So now all the men want him, and I thought we weren't going to follow up on that plotline because we cut back to Jack, or this mystery slasher man, just killing a bunch of people, with even more thrilling jokes where he kills a man, and then he kills the dude's girls, and then he's holding their heads, and he's like, what can I say? I like head. Ooh, that was really funny. That was hilarious. And it's just a bunch of scenes where he kills people. It's just typical hack and slash, but the bad animation makes me not as intrigued, like, I can't lie. It's just kind of whatever. And while he's doing all these murders, Horat actually catches him and sees him doing this, so his initial reaction is to go back to Phil and Cheetah and be all like, oh my god, he pulled an O.J. Simpson! Which, you know, O.J. Simpson isn't really the first person I would think of to be a murderer. I mean, how do people even think O.J. actually committed those crimes? I mean, there are voicemails of it. He couldn't wear the glove. And of course, the most daring evidence that says O.J. Simpson definitely didn't kill his wife, there's just no debate, is that he wrote a book that's all like, oh, if I had done it. The fuck? What the fuck is wrong with you? Oh my god, my ex-wife! Oh, she's dead! Time to write a book that says, if I had done it! Oh! I don't know, just him saying he pulled an OJ just sparked that within me. I don't know, it's just such an interesting character to choose for that one sentence. You could choose anybody, really, but, you know, just a little bit wild. So they obviously start freaking out, and we get some of the most illogical reasoning ever as to why it would be Jack, where Phil's just like, oh, come on, man. I mean, he's not even here. Yes! Yes! That means he did it! Of course! Of course! Oh, God, make this man a detective. He knows everything about anything. Oh, Lord. Yeah, it's just that typical voice acting that isn't very good, and I don't know, I guess I can't really blame the voice acting, but the writing is also really bad. But I guess he's supposed to be stupid, so it works. So they eventually find the actual Jack, who apparently isn't the slasher. They put him in this, like, barrel and force him to stay there, while Cheetah and Phil go back to this basement, where they get knocked out. Jack eventually gets out of the barrel, goes to save them, and finds out that their brains have been swapped. And the second I knew that Cheetah and fucking Phil's brains were going to be swapped, I just knew there was going to be a bunch of jokes like, oh god, I have to use up myself now because I'm in a woman's body, oh yeah. And of course we go to the apartment, and Phil initially is like, oh, I always want to be in women, but this is too much. Yeah, of course it is. And then he takes one look at his badangas, and he's like, hoo hoo! He goes away, and he finds out that he's on his period inside of Cheetah's body.
You mind if I play with Cheetah's titties, dude?
I'm bloated. I have cramps, and there's a string hanging out somewhere.
So that's interesting. I also want to highlight that earlier in this episode, Jack is all like, oh, you're my cousin, please help me, you're my cousin. But it looks like he's talking to Cheetah. So I think that Cheetah is his cousin, the girl, right? That's what I think, okay, going into this. And eventually they find out that it was like this evil baby that Jack had in this other episode a long ass time ago, where he shat the baby out and it was so evil that they froze it. They find out that it was that. And so Jack and Cheetah, they like start suiting up. Cheetah's boobs grow twice the size, her ass gets bigger, all that great stuff for all the goonage, you know, everything you could possibly need, I guess. And they become superheroes so that they could go and stop this evil version of Jack. They want to do that. And Jack takes one look at Phil and Phil is in Cheetah, who is in Phil's body, and he's like, "Oh baby, you're so good, come here." And we get this scene of them kissing like vigorously, like just loving up on each other, just smooching each other. And I was like, oh my god, wait, isn't Cheetah his cousin? And then I looked into it more, and Cheetah isn't the cousin. The girl isn't the cousin. Phil is the cousin. And then I was like, oh wait, he's still kissing his cousin's body, so that doesn't even make it better. He's kissing his cousin either way. How does this make it better? I don't know, this entire scene was a little bit uncomfortable for me. I didn't like it. He's just making out with him, and I had to watch him grab his cousin's ass cheeks. It's just odd. I don't know. So they go to fight the evil version of Jack, and Jack apparently dresses up as Jack, so they both look like the superhero versions of themselves, and they're fighting, and we think that Jack gets killed, and then Cheetah is about to be destroyed, and god, it's just such a weird conversation where the evil Jack is like, "Oh, you know why I made you a woman? Oh, cause I have balls now." And he's gonna do horrible, atrocious things to him, and then Cheetah shows up, who is in Phil's body, and kicks him in the balls a bunch of times, sends him off the roof, and that's pretty much that. I don't know. There's a lot of things happening, and none of which I really liked. This episode was definitely a lot worse. The writing was just way worse. Everything was kind of all over the place in terms of the story. I just did not really like this one. There were a couple of things wrong. I mean, the first 8 minutes was just kind of whatever. Typical hack and slash, it's just whatever. And then, once you have the stuff with Phil and Cheetah switching bodies, and then there's all this talk of like, oh yeah, I want to use myself up, oh yes, then you start to lose me, and then you have Jack kissing his cousin just for shock value humor, and I had to watch them passionately kiss each other while grabbing their ass cheeks, and I just keep thinking that these dudes are cousins. Yeah, that's not gonna do it for me. And then the ending was also just not very enjoyable. This episode sucked. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would probably give it a 3 out of 10. Yeah, just not my cup of tea in terms of what they portrayed. I honestly think I just took a roll of the dice, stared at that title of the Cho Warrior episode, and I just struck gold in an episode that was so bad that it's actually good. The other 2 episodes, obviously they don't speak for the entire show, but they were just really boring 90% of the time. Like, when I'm watching the characters do things or have their conversations, it's either really annoying or it's just not entertaining, because visually, this show does suck. Like, it's just not that great, so there's not a lot that's very captivating in terms of me actually wanting to watch stuff. And I know I talked about it a lot before, but that curry joke, like, yes, it was racist and that is a problem, but that's not the main reason I'm highlighting it. I'm highlighting it because it was one of the most lazy jokes I've ever seen in any show. Like, it just had no value even being there. I can't imagine anybody that would laugh at that because it was just so boring. Like, I don't know, you have a bunch of people working on the show, a show that honestly feels like a Newgrounds show that for some reason got the budget of an actual TV show, and they just went with it. It feels like that, but it also feels like when you got this TV show, you're just like, yeah, we got a TV show, let's put as little effort as possible. Now, that's obviously not speaking for the Cho Warrior episode. That felt like it had some passion, some love, the majority of the time, but I don't know, the other 2 episodes, they were just extremely lackluster, and I would love to know what you guys think about this show down in the comments, if it truly is that bad. I've had hundreds of people tell me that the show is that bad, but I don't know. Am I just missing the piece of the puzzle? Are these characters actually really funny? Are the voices that are like, oh, come on, ding-a-ling, get some work done, are those voices actually entertaining to you? Is the little monkey who talks like a fucking dishwasher gain sentience? Is that entertaining for you? Because to me, it's just not. I didn't really like the Nutshack. It failed at the one thing I truly wanted it to do, and that was to make me bust. How's a man supposed to bust when watching the Nutshack? It just don't make any sense. I don't get it. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. At the beginning, I did say that I am switching to a 5 upload schedule a week. This is so that I could focus more on the quality and not strain myself as much, because getting a 30-minute video out every single day does take its toll in terms of what I can find funny, the jokes I can make, the thoughts I have about a show, and it requires me to rush some things. So I've had a lot of people talk to me about it and tell me that they would much rather prefer 5 uploads and that it's going to be better for the channel, and I ultimately agree. I think that will help the channel a lot and help me grow and make some more quality content and keep delivering good stuff. And with 5 uploads pretty much every single week, well, it's going to be every single week, I still can achieve my goal of being the most consistent cartoon YouTuber on the platform. I will be that. I want to be known as that. And yeah, we're on that road to 50K. We're getting there. I want to get there before like halfway through January. That'll be 50K before a entire year doing this YouTube thing. So yeah, that'd be really cool. Anyway, thank you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.